Hi, ladies and gentlemen. It's Miss Sab just talking to you about today's lab, or rather tomorrow's lab. So when you go into classwork, you'll see the virtual lab going with the flow. So you're going to be making your version of an aquifer. And when you first open it up, I know it looks a little crazy, but don't worry, it is not that bad. What's on here right now is an overlay that basically tells you how to use all the different buttons and what they're for. So read the white areas and it will explain how to use it. When you're done reading those, hit the blue button where it says get started, and all of that goes away so that you can then actually start the lab. If you get confused or how to move through things, or if you need to get something turned on again, you go to the upper right hand corner for the little eye and you'll see that they will come back. If you want to go back to the lab again, in the middle in the blue, hit go to the lab and it'll turn it back off. So that just basically is an overlay showing you how to use this system. When you first get here, you're going to have a scenario which you can read right here, and then it's going to want you to take some notes in your lab book. This is actually going to be a real digital lab book that you're going to save and download later so that you can put it into Google Classroom when you turn it in. So whatever notes that you feel like you need to take your notes here, close it, and then go on to the next part. So anything you think is important from this information here, you're going to pull into your design. Read the background information, look at the samplings of things that they have you working with. Make sure you go to the next page because you will not actually be able to start your design until you come to the second page. And you'll see here that it will let you use one, two, or all three parts for your setup for your aquifer. You can have all three parts be gravel. You can have one be gravel. You can and one be sand and one be silt. However you want to make it, set yours up. So I'm just gonna fool around with this a little bit. I'm gonna put one part silt and one part sand in here, and then I'm gonna fill the container. Make sure you fill the container because that's will turn the test on. Okay. Once you've got that on there, go to your next page and hit your test. You have a little beaker of water. You still have your sand and your silt and your gravel. Drag your water over to your container where you have your aquifer on the top and your information on the bottom. And just like on this second page, on the first page, on the second and third pages, you also have notes. So you notice that once it's finished going through and it comes up with its time, because it automatically times it for you, it'll give you that information. Well, what are you going to do with this? So if we go back to design and we hit our lab book, you'll see that there are questions here about your setup. What criteria do you need to make permeable? Please make sure you can use your e-text, not Google, e-text, so that you can find out what permeable means in a way that makes sense to you and not some big highfalutin words. I don't want you to know the definition. I want you to know how to use it. Okay, there's a difference between knowing the words and knowing what the words mean. Okay, what combination of sediments do you think are going to make the best, most permeable one? For instance, the last question: what's the relationship between permeability and flow of water? Is permeability means a higher flow of water, or does a higher permeability mean a lower flow of water? I need you to explain that here. On the test page, which is page 3, here is where you would put how much gravel, how much sand, how much silt you put in, and how long it took. So that's where you would put those 10 seconds. And then based on how quickly the water went through it, how would you describe its permeability? Was it high, medium, low? What have you, whatever describers you want to use, and what natural process does adding the water mimic? So what process is happening when the water is going down on top of the aquifer? You can always again close those after you put your information in. Now, mind you, you want to try to build an aquifer for these people that's going to be the best possible. So if you didn't like the way it worked here, if 10 seconds was too much, you can come around and reset this and play around with it, make some different ideas up, maybe 2 parts sand and 1 part gravel, however you like to get it done. And then every time you go to fill the container, it'll reset, and then you go back and change it and test again. Do that until you're done. Make sure when you go into your redesign, fill it in your lab book. And then your last question is just answering this based off of what you learned. Good luck.